Hey guys, during the Industrial Revolution, there was a lot of stuff going on in the Western world. Steam engines were becoming popular, $100 bill man flew a kite, and child labor was being explored in new and exciting ways. But for every Mona Lisa of an engine being made, there existed plenty of macaroni artworks that don't get talked about. Today, let's acknowledge some of mankind's works that got more of a participation trophy rather than a Nobel Prize. Born in 1709, there was one French inventor and artist named Jacques de Vacon. His most notable achievement included inventing the all-metal lathe, which was critical to pretty much all modern metallurgy. So this guy was big man, you can tell because he has his own Wikipedia page. At 18 years old, he was given his own workshop where he created mechanical machines called automata. It's kinda like the animatronics from Five Nights at Freddy's minus the dying children part. These automata included a life-size shepherd playing the flute and a similarly sized tambourine player. Hey, wait a minute. Life-size, autonomous, plays music?
Oh my god.
So Purple Guy was a pioneer in the field. However, when a government official decided to visit, he called Jacques' tendencies profane and ordered his workshop to be destroyed. That profanity warning didn't stop him, and in 1764 he created his masterpiece, the digesting duck. The duck had over 800 moving parts, could flap its wings, drink water, and like its name suggests, digest food and turn it into shit. Well, not quite. Jacques couldn't figure out how to make the digestion work, so he faked it by storing actual feces in a hidden container, and only releasing it when it needed to defecate. If Jacques were alive today, he would be happy to know that someone did make a machine that turns food into poop. I would show you the video. So, back before cars, the fastest way to get around on land was by horse. This was great and all, but when it came to rivers, you gotta use a boat. Electricity wasn't common back then, so you'd have to paddle the boat like a peasant. Then this one guy comes along and was like, What if we combine a horse and a boat? So like the horse moves the boat. Like the horse, it's on a boat, right? And it walks, and it turns a propeller. So David Wilkins designed and submitted a patent for a horse-powered ferry using 8 horses on treadmills, and would move at a blisteringly fast 4.5 miles an hour. The boat, called Experiment, was 100 feet long and 20 feet wide, or about a third of a football field long for you Americans. Over the course of its lifetime, Experiment made an impressive number of voyages, and by impressive I mean all of them were unsuccessful, and by all I mean just one. On its maiden voyage, it started near Providence, Rhode Island, and aimed to land near Patuxent Village, only a couple miles away. The boat was constructed extremely poorly, and even with 8 horses, the bulk of its speed came from the wind and the outgoing tide. It did manage to reach Patuxent Village, but when trying to return, the wind pushed the boat into the mudflats, thus destroying the boat. So, when reading about this, the Wikipedia sections went history, maiden voyage, and financial failure. Personally, I don't think it was much of a failure. For comparison, this is Yahoo. I don't think they're saying that anymore. This next one's called a Tempest Prognoso Leech Barometer. If you wanted to predict the weather today, we have a lot of tools to do stuff, but if you were a farmer in the 1800s, the best tools you got were your eyes. Enter Dr. George Merriweather, a doctor and inventor from Britain. George noticed that the leeches were highly sensitive towards changes in the air and thought, hey, if those leeches get super antsy right before a storm, we could totally use that to tell us if something is coming. Oh. So George spent much of 1850 developing designs to trap these leeches, the most successful of which contained 12 bottles in a circle, each filled with a bit of water. A leech was placed in each bottle, which was to be its future residence. I'm pretty sure this guy's a psychopath. At the top of each bottle was a tube connected to a wire leading to a bell, and when a storm came, the leeches would get scared of the slightly charged air and would go into the tube, ringing the bell. Okay, that sounded a bit convoluted, so let me explain it again in simple terms. Leech in bottle. Storm come. Leech get scared. Leech go up bottle. Ring bell. The more times the bell rang, the more likely a storm was coming. In his essay, George wrote that the bottles were placed in a circle to prevent the leeches from feeling the affliction of solitary confinement, and even referred to them as his little comrades. Aw, maybe this guy wasn't a psycho after all. He's just weird. The Leech Barometer was actually pretty accurate, a rare victory in the world of merging animals and technology. When George pitched the idea to the government, they reacted pretty poorly to his contraption, and despite lobbying to use his design along the British coastline, they went with a different design, which notably did not use live animals. Can't imagine why. So the next time you think of a crazy idea, remember the pioneers of the Industrial Revolution. Even if it doesn't work, just remember, innovation often requires a healthy dose of trial and error, and these inventors definitely took that one to heart. Alright, see ya.